During the hot summer break, Joe, Mix, and their father decided to travel to a forest not far from the village. It was a forest that they had heard mysterious stories about from the villagers, saying that it was a magical forest. Anyone who went in there would encounter strangeness and nature like no other. The three of them started their journey one morning as the soft sunlight filtered through the large trees. They arrived in a forest filled with tall trees and dense bushes. The father, who was an expert in trekking, warned his children to be careful on the path and not to separate because this forest was not like any other forest, so they had to be careful. Joe and Mix looked around and felt the silence that covered the forest. Sometimes they could hear the wind blowing through the leaves, but other than that, there was no other sound. The sounds of birds and other animals mysteriously disappeared. As they walked deeper into the forest, they encountered something strange that made their hearts race. In one area, there was a tree with a silver trunk that reflected the sunlight. The wind made it seem as if the tree was moving like a living thing. But as they were about to leave, a strange sound came from behind them. It sounded like something had hit the ground hard. They turned around and saw a nearby tree turn completely gold. Everyone was stunned by the sight they had never seen before. But as they were about to leave, a strange sound came from behind them. It sounded like something had hit the ground hard. They turned around and saw a nearby tree turn completely gold. Everyone was stunned by the sight they had never seen before. The sound of the wind began to turn into a cry that seemed to call them forward. They followed the sound, not noticing how much time had passed. When they looked back at the path they had taken, they found that it was different. It was as if the forest had changed. But the deeper they went, the more the forest seemed to entice them. The large trees moved about as if they were alive, and brightly colored wings flitted past. But they were no ordinary birds. They seemed to be shimmering with light. They finally stopped when they came across a stream of clear water that seemed to have no end. The father tried to find a way to follow the stream, but as he turned left and right, he found that the stream twisted and turned in so many directions that he could not tell which path was the exit. They started walking along the stream, but after walking a short distance, they found many strange beasts walking by. Animals they had never seen before, such as small dragons with transparent wings, and even butterflies that were several times larger than normal. Everything in the forest felt different from the natural laws they were used to. They decided to spend the night under a shady tree. The father made a fire and brought water for his children. The silence was quiet, but there was a sense of dread in the silence. In the middle of the night, Joe woke up with a start when he heard strange noises coming from deep in the forest. Father looked over and saw a light floating in from a distance. It was a glowing blue light that floated like a ghost. They decided to follow the light until they found the exit from the forest. They followed the path until they found sunlight and a clear, blue sky again. The father and son smiled at each other before walking home without saying anything.